POV, you're in Montana on February 2nd, 2023. Oh my god. I don't know why this is so funny. Just a balloon with a Chinese flag, I think some Chinese letters, and camera. Is this gonna increase or decrease our social credit score? Actually, since we shot it down, I'm pretty sure that means it's gonna tank. No! China's spying on me! Meanwhile, OMG, look at these TikToks. This whole thing's a lot less threatening when you're showing me funny cat videos from my phone. Me showing China how to use Google Earth. Oh, I didn't even need a balloon in the first place. Could've just zoomed in on the whole thing. It's actually almost a little too easy, but then again, I think it actually makes sense. Isn't Google banned in China? So they had to resort to the balloon. Google Maps and Gmail are effectively blocked by the Chinese government. Diplomatic and military tension between the US and China be like, oh man. Yeah, things are definitely heating up. Or maybe they're just popping off. European fairy tales be like,
you burned my house to the ground!
And they're just
my
like,
family's dead! What do I do?
they're just dancing around like nothing ever happened, and they fly away. But if it specifically came from Germany, this thing would be like 10 times more horrifying. They don't mind traumatizing the kids for life. Ooh, a tweet from the official Among Us account. Fun fact, after the game got big in 2020, we had to change the color of the cross in the medbay because we apparently violated the Geneva Conventions by making it red. And I think it's a combination of the red cross and the white background here too. The emblem of a red cross on a white background is a sign of protection under the Geneva Conventions. I guess Among Us characters are not protected at all. Does that mean we can do war crimes against them? Yeah, so that's why this cross is now blue, unfortunately. The red does look better though. The UN, when the worst human rights violations known to man are being performed in a third world country, versus also the UN when a video game developer puts a red plus sign on a virtual medkit. Yeah, they definitely ain't gonna just be sleeping for that one. This actually happened many times before, even with a Blink-182 album. The UN, when they see a kids game about funky looking bean astronauts, put a red cross on a virtual medkit. This is a way more serious issue than preventing war crimes in third world countries, apparently. It's just making me think of the Swiss flag for some reason. They are also so close to being copy-striked at any moment. POV, your yodeling has caused one of the most destructive avalanches in history, which will wipe out a small Swiss village. You sounded great though. Well, I mean, if I sounded good, then who cares? Salary in Turkey, $450 versus her salary in Switzerland, which is $4,500. That is in Swiss francs. So she's saying she has to pay all these bills, yet this guy's rent is just more than what he's making. What is just $7.95 to live? What does that even mean? Sad Turkic noises. The entirety of Europe watching Sweden vs Turkey in Rust 1v1 live stream on an official NATO YouTube account. This future is not too far ahead of us, boys. It's only a matter of time. This is how we're gonna solve all geopolitical issues. I love that there is actually an official NATO YouTube account, and it looks like they have at some point played Among Us. My god. Finnish mythology be like, hey witch, can I marry your daughter please? Okay, but only if you can build me a device that can produce salt, gold, and flour out of thin air. What? Oh no, I think she's actually very serious about this right now. Is this just her way of saying you're never gonna marry my daughter? Or are Finnish men capable of a lot more than we're all expecting? So this does originate from Finnish mythology. This blacksmith right here did also manage to build the device out of thin air. I guess they made it, but then the witch just stole it from them. Then they had to go and get it back, and wow, Finland. I feel like this explains a lot about your country. Naming myself these Chinese characters to avoid revealing that I'm a girl and to intimidate other players. Most of the other players just quitting the game instantly. They know they have no chance. But then there's this one Japanese player wondering why I'm playing badly and named Microwaved Frog. Why wouldn't you want to be named Microwaved Frog? I mean, honestly, is there anything more epic? Father died. He was a massive man, 7 foot on a good day. Ask coroner people if I can keep his skeleton. They act like I'm a weirdo and ask why. Tell them I want to put his giant skelly on display in my house with some cool knight armor on it. They tell me it's illegal to take the body and do that. Tell them they can keep the meat. I'll bury that. I just want the skeleton. Get kicked out and interviewed by a cop. Why the frick is the USA so butthurt about this? We glorify all awesome displays from Europe, but I can't do the same with my own father? And they want us to believe we live in a free country. They were allowed to keep all the meat too, like this seems like a fair trade deal. We literally live in an authoritarian state. Pies are watered to add more gravy and wet the dough. English people season their food with water, LMAO. Oh, that actually explains a lot. Now I know why their food tastes like that. POV, you're walking through Ohio. This place sucks. There there's nothing to do, well, would you look at that? A well-dressed pack of dogs in Ohio. That's nice. This place is nice. I would change everyone's opinion immediately. I want to see some dapper-looking dogs. Me explaining that most British people have such ginormous foreheads because the climate there is rainy for half the year, and evolutionarily, they've developed this trait to shield their eyes and to soak up as much vitamin D as possible on cloudy days like a solar panel. Oh, is that why? Thank you to this kind gentleman for finally explaining that. Business majors when they remember they had their coloring sheet due at 11:59 p.m. You think they're even required to have to color within the lines too? I don't know what I'm talking about. I started off as a business major and then I couldn't even get through that. I dropped out. No, you can't shut down in the middle of nowhere, as this guy cries. Thank you for bringing me back home from the battlefield even though I passed out from my wounds. Very common horse dub here. Horses 1, cars 0. The Tesla Model 3 is self-driving, environmentally friendly, incapable of loyalty, basic $40,000 to $50,000 versus horse and buggy, self-driving, environmentally friendly, loyal, cool and unique, only $3,000 to $10,000. Yo, I gotta get me one of these as soon as possible. A horse can cost anywhere between a couple of $100s to several thousands of dollars. The average is about $4,000 though. I'll just build the buggy part. That doesn't seem too hard. Americans, look at all these countries with their weird pagan rituals. Also Americans watching a groundhog predict seasonal changes. Oh my goodness, it sees its shadow. Groundhog's Day is literally derived from Pennsylvanian Dutch superstition. If a groundhog emerges from its burrow on this day and sees its shadow due to clear weather, it will retreat to a den and winter will go on for another 6 more weeks. This truly is like one of the strangest things that we do, and yet everyone just takes it for granted. It's funny though how the movie is actually probably more popular than the actual holiday, it looks like. Latin American country, I'm gonna diversify my economy so I don't have to rely on producing bananas. Meanwhile, the USA, 2 seconds later. All of a sudden it sounds like you need a little bit more freedom in your life. I need to come over there and spread some of this freedom. There is a country in Africa that begins with every letter of the alphabet. Oh no, I think we forgot one though. Wait a second, what? I just realized a joke here. Someone is forgetting poor Kenya. Oh, they got me. There's actually several African countries that don't begin with many letters of the alphabet. They do have the only 2 Z countries though, Zimbabwe and Zambia. Cool, Michigan fact. It sucks. Ohioans still out here trying their best to have the memes start going after their rival state. Unfortunately for them though, I think it's a little bit too late. This Chinese leader testing out China's brand new spy balloon. He tested it himself too, so he knew it was definitely gonna work. I guess he didn't end up needing all these though. An oversized gorilla on its way to protect a young boy after falling into the enclosure at the zoo. And to think we had to take him out because of it. He was just trying to protect that kid, I'm convinced. Rip Harambe. Soccer players when they barely get hit, but they see the referee was watching. Oh, it's time to hurl myself back 50 yards. Gotta make sure we get that penalty card out. Spies trying to get secret government files. Passing straight by the War Thunder players. I mean, let's look at the bright side. At least spy agencies know exactly where to go to get new recruits. And they're starting off so young, too. That's the thing. They're gonna have a long career ahead of them. Americans just trying to check out some dank memes. Meanwhile, Europeans trying to make them feel bad over issues they have no control over. This is actually literally every country in the world. It's like every country in the world making fun of every country in the world for things they literally have no control over. Me when the person I'm arguing with makes a good argument. All right, I think it's time. You know what it is. Soy Jack versus Chad template. Doesn't matter what they say, this is how they do it. And this is especially how they do it in Italy, apparently. The first world will be grass-themed, the second will be desert-themed, and the third will be snow-themed. This is every platform game ever, and things have stayed the exact same for like 30 years. It's always gonna be like this. Spain, after stealing half a continent of gold and still being broke. Maybe they just were spending it a little bit carelessly. I mean, if you had all this at one point, you probably just thought the cash would keep on rolling in. It's not exactly how it works, though. Nature is a cruel and dangerous place. Animals always need to keep an eye open. Meanwhile, this is how capybaras do it. This guy's been casually in disguise for weeks. These crocs have no idea. Or maybe they're just friendly with everybody. Turns on the subtitles to understand the foreign language. Meanwhile, the subtitles, yeah, well, I mean, where's the lie? Europeans, when they say that Kinder eggs are banned in the USA, but we do have Kinder eggs in the USA. Yeah, but they don't have toys inside of the eggs. Oh, okay. I get it now. The surprise in the middle is kind of the best part. Another huge L for America. What? time is it? 300 BC? I don't know, because it's cloudy. In 1600 AD? I don't know, because I forgot to adjust my clock. In 1800 AD? I don't know, because I forgot to wind my watch. In 1990 AD? It's 1058. In 2023 AD? I don't know, because I forgot to charge my watch. It's all come full circle. Humans were never meant to know the actual time. The 1990s was actually the big problem here. I'm glad to see the return to tradition. Tell a German, I'll see you later. He asks, what time? Yeah, be careful. The Germans will be very literal for you. It's just an expression, Hans. Designed by a PhD student in 1980 versus built by illiterates in the year 1600. I actually got to see this building too in Italy. I was just randomly walking by. In Rome, you'll just be like randomly walking through really tiny streets and then turning a corner and then all of a sudden seeing the greatest thing man has ever created. Although it is nice that SpongeBob's house was made by a PhD student in the 1980s. The next design has leaked for the next Chinese spy balloon coming in the future. We're definitely not going to be able to detect this one. We're never going to see this thing ever. Oh great, here comes the German spy balloons now. I wonder how this person can tell. And one thing's for sure, you know they're blasting at 99 red balloons from it too. They just got this like base boosted for 48 hours straight. You have two choices, either Ivan or Dmitri. Hollywood writer is picking a name for a Russian character. Oh man, the choices. It's literally a decades old tradition at this point. Why change it up now? And big thanks to my patrons. Drew, I forgot to kidnap you. Next date is March 19th, 2023. The Polish, Lithuanian, Commonwealth,
Taylor,
Portugal
John
is
Denver,
not Balkans.
good old Rye,
244,
Iowa,
aka Drew, if
Barbados
you don't come to
Ball,
Krakow,
Drew's
Poland, I will find you.
Argentinian grandpa,
$20 is a lot,
aPhatNarwhal.
Drew.
Why am I
Taylor
doing
Campbell
this?
S.
Drew does
Andrew
everything
Goth,
for $20.
Jack Traven's annoying
LuxembourgLover,
for 610.
Robert
Rye,
Is,
the
Anime
Pie,
Shrek,
Ralph
Ralph
Twickenhamster,